Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Workaholic Podcast. I'm your host, Kellyanne Gorman. I'm a business, LinkedIn, and podcast coach, as well as a luxury brand consultant, and I help business owners take their brands to the next level by implementing my personal techniques when it comes to growing their service, sales, and social media. Over the past 20 years, I've helped grow multiple brands in the beauty, hospitality, health, and luxury travel markets. I've exceeded all of their expectations, and I'm here to share my tips and tricks on how I did it. Inspiration, motivation, and determination are what got me to where I am today. And trust me, living with an autoimmune disease is never an easy task. So you can definitely expect some pretty crazy stories shared here as well. Don't forget, the after show happens after each episode in the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group, and that's where I'll be every week to answer all of your questions. Now, if you want to hear any of my exclusive news first, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and sign up for my weekly VIP newsletter. Now, let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, it's Kelly from thehappyworkaholic.com, and today I want to talk to you guys about how I spent my day yesterday. So originally, I had planned to catch up on a ton of work projects. However, half of my day was spent organizing more of my health situation. So this is a little bit of a continuation from the last show about how to be organized in your health. And I want to talk to you about the importance of Google and patient portals. So I was asked by my NMO specialist last week to get all of my MRI physical discs from Las Vegas, from the radiology center that I was always at. So I had immediately requested it. I paid for it myself so that I would get them right away. I received them, and then I needed to cross-reference and make sure that I had every single one. So I received 20. So I had 16 MRIs, 3 spinal taps, and a port procedure. So I had luckily I've received every single one, and I had to go on my patient portal to cross-reference. Now, this is why this is so important, because if I did not have access to that patient portal on a Saturday, I don't think I would have gotten as far as I did with all of my checks on my to-do list regarding all of my health stuff I had to finalize. So I was able to log right into my patient portal and check off every single disc. It was here. It's good to go. It's all organized. I can now hand deliver to my NMO specialist, and we can move on with my life and get to my appointment on the 12th and have more to chat about. So that's going to be on another episode. But I wanted to share with you guys that if you are not registered on these patient portals with any of your doctors, you are doing something wrong. It's going to save you so much time and energy when you when you register with these doctors online. And I think I mentioned this in last week's episode about how to be organized in with your health, but my doctor, my new NMO specialist, actually had my iPhone in his hand and was zooming in on my online patient portals because I was on so many of them and he didn't receive specific things. So we were going through every single lab, like the last 3 years of my life, which by the way were so many, on my Quest Diagnostics online patient portal. Now, if I didn't have that, we would not have been where we are today and would not have gotten so far in my appointment that I had with him last week if I did not have those patient portals. You cannot rely on the quote-unquote system to make sure that everything is complete for you. So you need to be on your A game. You need to take charge. And this is literally a job. If you have an autoimmune disease or a chronic illness or something that has popped up in your life and you need to go see some specialists or doctors or follow up with some therapy or any other situation. So that is like priority. If you are not registered with your doctor on their online patient portal, you have to do that. So whatever today is for you, make sure if it's a business day, Monday through Friday, that you are following up with your doctor and you're getting online, because it's going to save you so much time. If I did not have the patient portals that I had set up, I would have had to make another appointment with my specialist, and we wouldn't be where we are today moving forward with my chemo treatments and such. So it's so important. Patient portals, please make sure that you register today, because I just said, it's going to save you so much time, stress, and anxiety. I promise you that. So it literally took me a couple hours yesterday organizing all of that and making sure that I had every single disc ready for my NMO specialist. The next thing I did was go to Quest Diagnostics, where all my labs are, to see if I was tested for specific things. So I went in there, and then it's like a black hole, right? It's almost like when you start watching Instagram stories and then an hour later you're like, am I really still doing this? So I went on to Quest, I started searching for labs, and then, this is my body we're talking about. I want to know what the hell I'm getting tested for. So then I start Googling, and Google can be a good and bad thing. So for me, the importance of Google it's like priority in my life, because when I'm looking at my labs, I do not know what the hell they were talking about with, letters and numbers and all these things. So I want to make sure that I am fully aware of what these labs are. So I Google it. And Google is great for this. However, Google is not great for when there's something wrong with you and you go to WebMD and you think you're dying and all this. Don't do it for that reason. Do it for knowledge. And I probably spent another hour or two just figuring out labs. I have a whole notebook. I'm taking notes. Why are they testing me for this? And why is it high and low? And what does that mean? So Google is the key to getting answers on that. So I would go through the labs and I would see what was flagged, if it was high or low, and what that meant. So I went to Google. I would Google the name of the lab. Okay, it's for this. And then I would Google, what does high or low mean for this, XYZ. So I started taking notes. And then I'm thinking to myself, how come no one has ever explained any of this to me? Because your doctor's just sending you to Quest or wherever your lab is to get blood work done. But if there is a whole panel, there's no one on the back end, no one else to follow up with unless you're seeing a rheumatologist to get blood work actually explained to you what each test is for. So a lot of these tests I was looking at, I'm like, no one ever mentioned that they were testing me for this. And it's high and it's low, and why didn't anybody say that? And Quest is flagging it, so that's weird. So I took a lot of notes so I can follow up with my specialist, and you really just need to stay on top of that. And you never know if somebody misses something. And that's all I really wanted to share today is the importance of Google and patient portals. It's going to save you time, stress, anxiety, and money. And you really, really need to make sure that you are registered with all of them, because as I just mentioned, my specialist was literally on my iPhone going through my patient portals with my Las Vegas previous doctors because he hadn't received specific faxes. And I would have had to go and have a whole new appointment just for that reason if I was not organized online. And then something else I did too, if you are on an iPhone, there's a heart app and a medical ID, and I had to update all of that as well with my new prescriptions and my new doctors, and in my pill case I have all that information as well. God forbid something happens. Anybody that looks through my purse or my iPhone can automatically see what drugs I'm on, what prescriptions, what chemo, and what autoimmune disease I have. God forbid there's like a serious emergency and I'm not able to share with them specific things that are happening in my life, such as my lovely autoimmune disease. So those are a couple things that I highly suggest doing if you are someone that suffers with an autoimmune disease or you're going through a medical situation for yourself or someone in your family or your children. Google is going to be your best friend on a positive note when you're researching what specific labs and tests are. Don't use it when you have a problem and you think like my life's going to end, because that is not positive at all. But patient portals will be your best friend. If you have any questions about how to be organized in your health, come visit us in the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group. I'd love to answer your questions. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just sharing what I do on how to be organized and why I Google and why patient portals are so organized. Do it. It's going to save you so much time. And that's all I really wanted to share with you guys today, just to be aware and on top of your game, and write down any questions that you have when you're thinking about it, so that when you do have the next doctor's appointment, you're ready and prepared. And make sure you update that app on your phone if you have it, so that, God forbid, something happens, you are good to go. So I hope that you guys are having a great day. Again, this is like a little bit of a continuation on last episode of how to be organized in your health, but it's something that just popped up yesterday, and I spent hours doing it. So I wanted to share cross-referencing and patient portals, excuse me, and why they're so important. So before I lose my voice again, I'm signing off. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. If you liked this episode, please let me know by writing me a review on iTunes for the Happy Workaholic Podcast. I would truly appreciate it. As I always say, sharing is caring. Don't forget, the after show happens after each episode in the Happy Workaholic Podcast Facebook group. And that is where I am every week to answer all of your questions. Now, just so you know, I have been spending so much time over on my Instagram, and I would love to connect with you over there. You can find me at The Happy Workaholic, and don't forget to tag me when listening to your favorite episode so I can showcase you on my Instagram stories. For any other information regarding the Happy Workaholic Network, leverage your LinkedIn and your podcast production, just visit thehappyworkaholic.com. I hope that you are having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you again soon.